What's up, guys? This is the Ol Drunken Geek, and I'm back at it like a crack addict, baby. And sorry I've been gone for a couple weeks. You haven't seen me on this channel. You haven't seen the ODG Show, but because of Hurricane Irma, I got delayed and couldn't make any videos. Shit got fucked up. I'm from Florida, so shit happens. But here is my It review. So, as some of you guys may or may not know, I am not huge into horror films. The reason is that, to me, the point of a horror film is to scare you, and they don't do that. They just don't. I'm not huge into, the whole horror genre because, to make fun of it. Like, oh, that movie was so bad, it was good. I know some people are, but me personally, I don't. So one of the few movies that actually did scare me as a jit, from Miami people, that means kid, was the movie based on Stephen King's novel called It. Now, it was a miniseries back in the 90s. It's like a fucking 3-hour-long thing, but that clown was so creepy, man. Pennywise the clown just fucking, it scared the shit out of me. The fact that this clown could fuck with you individually by your individual fear, that was just like instilled in me for like life. When I found out that they were making a movie about it this year, I was kind of excited about it until I watched the trailers. The trailers just seemed like every other horror flick with a bunch of jump scares and, the overly CG'd, and I was just like, and since the miniseries, to me personally, at the time, has set such a high bar, I just didn't have any expectations for this movie. Boy, oh boy, was I pleasantly surprised. For those of you who don't know, the movie It deals with the town of Derry. In this fictional town, there's a bunch of disappearance of kids, and nobody knows what's happening to them. And they focus in on a small group of kids that all become friends, just to like evade bullies and stuff like that, and just normal kid stuff. But later they become haunted by this creature, which normally takes the form of a clown, Pennywise the clown. We all know him. He knows about their individual fears and haunts them through that. Through the movie, they find out that everybody's getting haunted, and they, team up obviously to defeat the clown, Pennywise, It, if you will. The movie opens with this kid Bill and his brother Georgie. Now, it's a rainy day, and Bill wants to stay inside, but Georgie, being a younger sibling, wants to go outside and play. So Bill gives him this paper boat that Georgie goes out and floats on the rainwater, and the boat goes down a drain. When Georgie goes to look down the drain to retrieve his boat, the clown Pennywise is there waiting on him, and he's like, hey, where are you going? Here's the boat. And when Georgie reaches in to get it, the fucking clown just takes his arm. That's pretty much the beginning of the movie, and that sets up the drama for the rest of the movie. That's why his brother Bill wants to find Georgie, and throughout the movie, Georgie, not really Georgie, but Pennywise or It, keeps taking the form of Georgie to just kind of like entice and fuck with Bill. One of my biggest fears about this movie just being shit and complete modern shit is the fact that I thought that it was just gonna be like CG all over the place, CG clown, look at the CG clown, and that it was gonna be a bunch of jump scares, fucking open the door, rah! I thought those were gonna be used like gratuitously and superfluously, but they really weren't, man. I was happily surprised that the whole movie, if there was a jump scare, which there were very few and in between, they were done very well. It was like you really didn't expect it, and the next time you got jump scared was so far into the movie you again didn't expect it. The CG was good, I guess the effects or whatever, they were really good, and obviously the clown's fake, but he's supposed to be that unrealistic because that's what makes him that scary. So I thought that was done really well. Some other things to note about the flick was that the pacing was really, really good. At no point was I ever bored. At no point was I ever like, well, this sucks. No point was I ever like, this isn't scary at all. Not only that, the type of pacing that it had, it allowed for different characters to get different kind of character development. Some got more than others. There were some that had, a little bit more of main characters, but they still, the small ones still got some character development, which is really cool. To just touch base on some of the protagonists of this movie, there is Bill, who I already talked about, George's older brother, who is a a stutterer. That was mean. I know. I don't give a fuck. Sorry, stutterers. But yeah, he was a stutterer. There is Beverly, who is, seems to be like a little bit poorer than everybody else. You've got Ben, who's like the new kid, and he's like a little bit of, nerdy. He's always at the library. You've got Stan, who is a Jewish kid, and I guess they pick on him. Back in the days, I guess they used to pick on Jewish kids. I'm from Miami, so I don't know how, there's Jewish people everywhere, so I don't know how that's a point to pick on somebody, but hey, whatever. There's Eddie. He's like the sickly kid. He's always sick. He always needs like an asthma pump and all kinds of things. His mom is always worried about him. That's his main point of contention, that his mom's like super worried about him all the time, and he's like a sickly kid. You got Mike, who's like the homeschooled kid in the town. He's also like the black kid of town. I guess back in the days also, this is set back in the days, so I guess he was also dealing with a lot of racism. Not that it's done now, but back in the days it was worse. And he does have to deal with that bullshit. And then you've got Richie, which is like the funny kid. He's like the one that makes all the gross jokes. Kind of like me, like now. I'm like the Richie of every fucking group I've ever been in. Just make the fucking fart and dick jokes. The time has come for me to talk about more details of the movie. So for those of you that just want to shut off the video now and don't want to hear what I got to say about it, I'm just going to tell you guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. And also give you my score for this movie. This movie gets 4.5 shots because I loved it so much. And yeah, for those of you that want to stick around, let's go with the spoilers. What makes this movie super creepy for me was the fact that, like the miniseries, this fucking thing can haunt you individually. So each one of these kids gets their own interaction with the it being, with it. And they all get fucked with differently. Some people are approached through more visual things. Some people are like more about their neurosis. For example, Eddie was haunted by a guy that was like with leprosy and shit. The kid Stan had a very visceral fear for me. He was haunted by a picture of something that was kind of scary. I remember when I was a kid, I would look at certain like pictures of old ladies and shit and get totally fucking freaked out. I was like, oh shit. And that to me was like very, very like fucking visceral and very like personal. With Beverly, there was kind of like a metaphor for her period, I felt, maybe. I don't know, because like a bunch of blood exploded in the bathroom. And I know that this was like a point in her life where she was like reaching womanhood as well. So to me, I thought maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading into it wrong. One of the biggest what the fuck moments or what the fuck things about this movie was the fact that all these kids are coming up missing, and the adults, they act like they don't give a fuck. They're like, well, another missing kid, put up some posters on top of the other one that got missing last week, and we put up posters. Like, that shit was wild to me. Like, nobody gave that much of a fuck. Well, missing kid. Next week, another missing kid. Okay, they're missing. I'm like, that's wild. Another thing that was really cool about the movie was it had different kinds of monsters. It didn't just have the it entity, the Pennywise the clown and, all his forms, because obviously he can shapeshift. It had like the human monsters. Like you had this one kid, Henry Bauer, who was everybody's bully. And he was particularly nasty. Like I've had bullies like beat me up and shit, like back in middle school and shit. But this kid was like cutting the kids. He was like super sadistic. Even his bully friends were like, yo, you're going too far. Besides him, you had like his dad was a cop, and he seemed like he was like super abusive. You had Beverly's dad who was abusing her. Seemed like sexually they were, they weren't super explicit with it. Also, you had Eddie's mom who was like super overly protective of her. I just found it real weird, and with a little bit of research, I found that in the book, because this would look like I read book. I found out that in the book, its presence kind of permeates through the whole town, making everybody a little bit worse, which just made it cooler. Even though I had already seen the flick, and it brought up some questions, when I went and found that up, I thought, I'm like, it made sense. I mean, I felt maybe the movie could have made a better job of it, explaining that, but I feel like it didn't really need to 100%. Now, the last thing about this movie I gotta praise was the cast. Dude, the cast was so good, and everybody did a good job. I ain't gonna lie, there was not like one bad actor, But to me personally, there were only like a couple of these kids that really stood out and were really great. One of them was a kid that played Eddie, the sickly kid. His name was Jack Dylan Grazer. It is Jack Dylan Grazer, and I felt like he just put a lot of details into the character, man. Like, these kid actors are stepping their game way the fuck up. He just had details. He reacted to everything really good. He was just really cool. He just really painted that character for me. Also, you have Sophia Lillis or Lillis. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. The girl that played Beverly, which nobody had told me that we had a backup Amy Adams. It's like, where did he grown them in like cabbage patches and like you got a backup? She looks just like what I think Amy Adams would look like at like 14 or 15 years old. But she was also really good, and you know, she was like almost like one of the leads of the movie, and she carried it really well. Even better, sorry to say, than the kid that played Bill. I thought she was even better than that. Of the kids, the one who I thought did the absolute best fucking job was the guy that played Richie, the kid that played Richie, Finn Wolfhard, who's also at in Stranger Things. Now, when I heard that he was in the movie, I thought, I'm like, okay, he's gonna play another kid like he played in Stranger Things. You know, I probably thought it was gonna be Bill. He's gonna play another somber kid. You know, okay, you know, whatever. But he did not, man. He had a completely different character, and he fucking nailed it, dude. He had like a Joker character that just clowned all the time, and fucking, man, he did such a great job. The thing about him is, though, he shifted gears really quick. There was one scene when he was inside the house, and Pennywise put a poster of him missing, and he freaked out. And I believe that fucking freak out 110%. That kid was great, dude. And the kid's got range, and he's got a future, man. You're gonna see him somewhere else. And finally, we have the guy that played Pennywise the Clown, Bill Skarsgård. Now, previously he had been played by Tim Curry, and those are some big shoes to fill. Get it? Big shoes? Because he's a clown?
I got it. It's not funny, but I got it.
Tim Curry really did a great job. He really made that role creepy. And this guy had, you know, prosthetics and all kinds of other shit to help him out, but he still made the character his own. Like Bill Curry, yeah, this really is creepy, yeah. But his shit was different. His shit was like, it was so fucking like, he made the performance his own, and I really enjoyed that. I really liked it. And I'm not gonna say Bill or Tim who was better, because at this point it's like they were both really great performances. Like I said before, 4.5 shots all around, great flick. I really enjoyed it. Real personal, real altogether a good full meal, dessert and everything. And the best part is, at the end of the movie, they pop up that chapter 1. So you know there's gonna be the chapter 2 when they're adults, and hopefully they don't fumble it as much as like the miniseries, because that part was really uninteresting. But yeah, man, I can't fucking wait. I can't fucking wait. If you guys like this video, like, comment, share, subscribe. Like I said before, you know, and yeah, catch you fuckers next time.